All right, what up, people? It's your boy Chid from Gooner Eagle Eye, coming to you again with a brand new video. That's right, it's my daily episode of Eagle Eye, the transfer rumor show where I talk to you about transfer rumors surrounding the Arsenal. Now, let's get into this. First things first, let's talk about the never-ending saga that is Wilfried Zaha, the one that Emre seemingly has this fixation on and doesn't know how to break it. Wilfried Zaha, the 26-year-old left winger, right winger from Crystal Palace. The Gooner, I mean, unless you've been living under a rock for the past few weeks, ever since Zaha basically declared that he wanted to leave Palace, also declaring in the same breath that Arsenal was his destination of choice, given that he is a lifelong Gooner. This is something we knew about Wilfried Zaha prior to being interested in him. But, you know, him declaring it all the same, it's his dream move, according to his brother. And probably since then, I guess that statement alone seemingly has given Arsenal the license to run with this particular chase. He's a player that splits opinion. Yet again, another one of those. Like, we don't have enough of these guys. There are some people that believe he's absolutely worth it. The talent is there. It is obvious. He's an excellent player. There are certain people like me, to be perfectly honest, that don't think he's much better than a Iwobi, to be honest. And it's interesting because those people who are the most vocal about Iwobi usually end up being the most enthusiastic about Zaha. The irony, I know. I think the one thing all of us can agree on is that he is drastically overpriced. I mean, Palace were initially quoting wild figures like 100 million. Now they seem to have come down towards 80 million. I personally don't rate him more than 50. Arsenal yesterday went in with a second bid, which basically, at the end of the day, included a figure somewhere between the 60 to 65 million pound mark. The belief is that basically Arsenal offered 55 million pounds, including 10 million pounds in add-ons, as well as the loan of Reece Nelson, which a lot of people are like, whoa, hold on, what's going on? I suppose that supports the theory in a way, and I guess I might as well transition into the story to transaction back. And that is, I did hear a story today that Arsenal are considering loaning Reece Nelson back to the Bundesliga, this time setting him up at Hertha Berlin. Hertha Berlin would make more sense, Chris, yes. Hertha Berlin. And Emre is going to make a late call on that in the season. I'm guessing what Emre actually means is, well, depending on not if we get our targets, because we may need Reece, so it's important not to completely alienate him in the meantime. What do I think about all this mess? I honestly don't understand why we're bending over backwards for this guy. This is just my opinion. I really don't. And there was a lot of Guna's theory that maybe all this Zaha stuff is a smokescreen for Pepe. And to me, I would have thought that Pepe would make more sense as someone that we'd be looking to buy, who would be making so much effort for. Actually, it's looking like Pepe is going to end up at Man United, which kind of makes you wonder, well, if we're making all this effort for Zaha, we couldn't do the same for Pepe? Could Pepe not have played on the left and Uber in the middle and Lacazette on the right-hand side? That seems pretty fantastic to me. Or if you really wanted to be balanced, you take Lacazette out, you put someone like a Reece Nelson in, and you're good to go. I don't know. I'm really trying to be enthusiastic about this deal because I know a lot of people rate him, but a lot of people agree that he's overpriced. I'm not a huge fan of his. To be honest, I never have been. You know, when people have always suggested Wilfried Zaha, you notice I've never have. If you go to my playlist section, I have various different playlists. One is Chig Knows Best. I did one on wingers. Wilfried Zaha ain't in my list. And that was before we started seriously getting linked with them. I've never been a fan of his. It's just not something I've ever. I've always thought Wilfried Zaha turns up for Arsenal games, but we have a habit of making certain players turn up for us. His biggest strength to me is the counter attack. I think he's excellent at being that guy who takes the threat away from your goal and actually puts the threat on the other team's goal. He is a poor man's Hazard, if you want to look at it like that. There's someone that can just drive the team through one of his runs. That he's very, very good at. Quite frankly, the only person that we have that does that is Alex Iwobi. And yeah, he might look goofy doing it, but he is literally the only person that does it in our team. That's able to gallop and force and drive a team back. And I think it's underrated, that skill, because we don't have enough of that. In terms of Wilfried Zaha, listen, I've always said it, you know, if we buy him, you best believe I'll back him. 100%. I'll back him to do well. I mean, looking at the plus points, we're looking at someone who is a homegrown talent. Yes, he was born in the Ivory Coast, but he came here at the age of 7, I believe. So he's considered to be a homegrown talent because I think he's been in England for, I think to qualify, you have to be in England for 15 years or something like that. He is someone who is a gooner, which I know to some of you might not matter. Actually, I do. I disagree with that. I think it does matter. The amount of times I've been sat here and looking at the players and think, don't it matter? Doesn't that badge matter to you? You know? And I think having someone who plays for the back. Listen, say what you want about Jenkinson being shit. I'm with you. The guy gives 100%. I just want a player that's going to give 100%. Give his heart and soul out there. I don't want to see a player go yard gunners yard and then strolling around on the pitch for 90% of the time. You know, I want someone who's going to run and run and run and run and give a lot of effort. And because Wilfried Zaha is battling so much for this move, I'd like to think that he will really demand the very best from himself to play for the Arsenal. I think, you know, and I'll come back to the story in a second, but with Ceballos coming on board, I actually think the combination of him and Ceballos could be an interesting one. So I'm really trying to look at positive points here. In my view, if this was me personally, I'd abandon ship. I'd abandon ship because I think there are cheaper options out there, and we're struggling with other deals to get other deals over the line because we're being cheap. Why don't we go for cheaper options and then put said money to other places? You know, for me, if you said to me, Archie, who would you get? Denis Suarez. I wouldn't even think about it. You're talking about someone who, let's say, maximum costs 50 million. I think it'll cost more than the 36 is being quoted. Let's say it costs 50 million. That's still cheaper than what we're being quoted for Zaha. You're getting someone that we've seen real glimpses of his talent. And I don't know about you as a gooner. I am sick of reading stories, looking at stories about how Arsenal had X person when they were 17 or 18 years old and they failed their trial or they overlooked them or this, that, and the other. Our team of our 1 to 11 of nearly maybes is ridiculous. It is, first of all, so much better than our team. So much better than our team. It's ridiculous. I don't want this to be another nearly maybe. At the very least, and I know you guys hate it when I do this, at the very least, look at it as a business thing. You invest this money now, 3-4 years, if you decide to sell him to a Barcelona or Real Madrid, let's face it, it's probably going to happen. Now, notwithstanding the cut that has to probably go to his agent, because he has a weird deal where his agent owns 20% of him, like my man Django or some shit, and an investor owns 30% of him. I mean, if I'm Arsenal, over those 4 years, I'm probably looking for a way to buy out some of those sections. But even if you say to yourself, all right, I'm going on my 50%, I'll buy Gramea out, because that's essentially what you're doing. And he goes for 50 million. Let's say you sell him to Real Madrid, let's say a mad ballpark figure of, I'm not necessarily saying this will happen, but 120 million. 60 million is still a nice juicy amount, yo. And all right, well, you might say, yeah, but you just spent 50 million. All right, then fucking hell, for the sake of argument. But this is what I'm trying to say. If you over the 4 years trying to buy him out of some of these little awkward deals that he has, you could get more of that percentage pie when it comes to selling him. Or better yet, you keep him and you have a fantastic player on your hands. So, in my view, I think with Zaha, to me, I'd abandon ship. I'm getting pretty sick of this Sky guy who I can't pronounce the name of getting famous off the back of our name. Literally, this guy seems to know about Palace information, but because the Palace information relates to Arsenal information, and because he knows that the Arsenal fan base is a little bit cuckoo on Twitter, he's almost trying to build a name off the back of the story. And I ain't gonna lie, every time I watch it, I get pissed off. So I just want this Zaha story to stop, us to reconcentrate our focus on someone like a Suarez, dare I say a Ziyech, but I've all but given up on this idea of Ziyech. But at least go and get a Suarez to me. So yeah, there goes that. Let's talk about Kieran Tierney, another one that has gone on all summer. So there's a lot of confusion, a lot of conflicting stories. Some stories say that we've bid it a third time, and basically Arsenal said, all right, bun this. This is ridiculous. Some have basically said that Arsenal haven't actually bidded a third time, but they don't essentially agree with Celtic's valuation, and yet they've also still decided to focus on other targets. Now, to me, this is my opinion. I don't claim to be an oracle. I don't claim to be an ITK. This is just my opinion. Thinking about this from a tactical standpoint. In my opinion, I think this is a stone cold, all-in bluff. Now, you guys know I'm a bit of a poker player, but I think sometimes when you haven't made your hand, you got to re-raise anyway. And I think this is Arsenal's way of saying, all right, bun you then, isn't it? Because the player has agreed a contract with Arsenal. He's agreed a contract said to be worth 3 times the money that he's currently on now. He wants to come. He wants to come. And I think Celtic are, I suppose, underestimating how much Tierney wants to come to and join the club. But the club believe that they're in a strong position and they'll keep the player no matter what. To me, I think there's bluffing on both sides. I think Celtic could talk his shit. Because technically, they've already replaced Kieran Tierney. Yes, they don't have to sell, but they've already replaced Kieran Tierney. Now, in my view, I think Arsenal are just trying to play hardball to see if Celtic will come down the extra couple of million. I really don't want us to lose this player for 2 or 3 freaking million up front. Yeah. This is not, they're not asking for an unreasonable amount of money. I get that it's the Scottish League's record sale if it was to go through, but they're not asking for a ridiculous amount of money here. 25 million up top for a supposedly top left back, 22 years old. Let's just pay this dough, bruv. Let's get this over the line and pay this dough. My prediction for this is I don't think this deal is dead. I think this is just Arsenal trying to play hardball. Say, all right, cool. We'll move on to our other targets. You think if you want an unhappy player, let's see what happens. And they're both trying to out bluff each other, and eventually Arsenal will bow down to what's out it wants. And this will probably most likely be our deadline day deal, in my opinion. You know, you can't. I mean, some of these articles just look pathetic when they talk about, oh well, Arsenal can't afford to buy Tierney because, you know, he's out. He's too much for our £45 million budget. But then, in the same breath, talk about the fact that we've just bidded 60 million for Zaha. It's like, are you done? Are you done? So it's either one or the other, mate. Either we have a £45 million budget, or maybe we just don't agree with Celtic's valuation for the kid. Either way, I think Arsenal will pay this dough. This has been our number one target for some time. I know we briefly looked at the Ajax left back, which incidentally, when I did a Chib Knows Best, when I covered left backs, that Ajax left back was my choice. Because I knew about Kieran Tierney's operation. So I did mention Kieran Tierney in the thing, but I just thought, well, how long is it going to take for him to recover from that? So I think his name is Tagliafico. I couldn't pronounce it at the time either. And yeah, I just felt like he would be the better option. But my understanding is that he agreed to stay at Ajax. So everything else is kind of academic. But let's see. I mean, there are other rumors that apparently we are in for Ryan Segerson. Not for me. Not for me. I had high hopes for the kid. We've been linked with Segerson for the last 4 years. We've been linked with him a long time. But when I saw him in the Premier League, I just looked at him and I thought, well, what's the fuss about? I didn't get it. The other one we're being linked with is Rodriguez from AC Milan. Again, not for me. Not for me. The kid is what I want, which sounds so bad if I say it as a sentence alone. Kieran Tierney is the left back I want. So I would hope Arsenal can sort this out and just get the money wherever they can, because, you know, to lose out on this signing for the sake of 2-3 million, it would just be the dumbest thing. It'd be the dumbest thing. But anyway, that's Kieran Tierney. Let's talk about the medicals that are scheduled. So apparently the medicals, from what I understand, have actually been, well, the Denis Suarez one has now been done. The Saliba one, apparently he arrived in London about an hour and a half ago. So, as I predicted, I think these signings will be announced together. I did predict that. I did say the reason for that was that I felt that it would be a bad look if Arsenal, we've been waiting all this time for a signing, and then the signing you give us, we can't even have until now. Whereas everybody's excited about this Denis Suarez signing. So that it's an easier pill to swallow if you have imposed with him. So just from a PR standpoint, I thought that was the direction they would go in. It looks like that's the direction they're going to go in. So let's find out. Let's see what happens. You guys let me know if you're excited by those signings. I know the Saliba one is not a signing that people necessarily wanted, just because they felt that we needed to prioritize a signing for now. And we haven't done that. We signed someone who can only play next season, which on the face of it seems dumb. But if we can add a defender for this season, then suddenly that looks like potentially it might be a stroke of genius. Which brings me on to my next story. The player that it seems like every single summer we are being linked with, and that is Daniele Rugani from Juventus. Obviously, Juventus have just bought De Ligt, and they're stockpiling defenders at the moment. And they've kind of come to Regani thinking, well, we might as well offload you. Obviously, Juventus have also spent a lot of money trying to get De Ligt. So it makes sense from their point of view that they may feel like maybe we need to get rid of Regani. Now, there's some conflicting stories again on this. Some are saying that we're looking to purchase, but some are saying that we're looking to get this guy on loan. A loan wouldn't necessarily be a bad option to me. I think if you can bring him on loan, and if he turns out to be half decent and you can see him paired with a Saliba, why not? We're talking about a kid that hasn't played a lot of football. I think he's still pretty young. I think he's like 23 years old. I'm you know me, I'm a big fan of Italian goalkeepers and Italian defenders. So as soon as I heard this story, I was like, yep, sign him up. Yep. Again, another one on my Chigno's Best video series. And yes, Regani makes it. He's on my list. Very, very good guy, a very good player. I actually don't know why he doesn't get games for Juventus. I'm still told today that Juventus still actually rate him highly as a player. Just doesn't ever get any game time. You know, they have so many good defenders and so many experienced defenders that they feel like that Regani can learn from these guys, but also at some point the kid needs to play football. So the idea being that maybe we might be able to bring him on board. Now, it's worth keeping in mind that there is a common belief that Socrates will leave next summer. There is that common belief. I remember saying that on this channel back in May, I think, because I remember seeing an interview with Socrates last season saying that, you know, he could only see himself at Arsenal for a very short space of time before he goes back to Greece and then plays, you know, the rest of his playing days, he ends there. So this Arsenal stint was always supposed to be a short one. So I think with that in mind, we 100% need another centre-back. I'm not sure whether Mavropanos I've changed my mind about Mavropanos since hearing Emre's words, saying that, you know, he's not developing like expected, which worries me a little bit. Like, what do you mean he's not developing? Then loan him. What was he still doing at the club? So I think with that in mind, we definitely need to look at purchasing a centre-back, and maybe this guy could be it. So you guys let me know what you think about Regani. Is he someone that you would be interested in? Do let me know. Is there anyone else I haven't covered yet? Please don't forget also, before I come on to Everton Suarez a little bit further, please don't forget to absolutely crush that like button for me. You guys have been amazing with that lately. Got almost 200 likes yesterday. So thank you so much for that. First and foremost, thank you so much for that. And secondly, I'd really appreciate it if you can absolutely destroy it again. And the reason for that is very simple. You know, any sort of activity that you can give this channel, whether it's comments, whether it's likes, it brings it to the attention of YouTube. YouTube push it up the ladder a little bit more, feature it a little bit more on their page. And it just helps the show get attention. The only way that the channel is going to grow is the more eyes people see on it. You know, I've always said this about myself. I make a fantastic second impression. So I think when you first see me, you think, oh my gosh, is this big black guy going to talk to me about football for? But then I like to think that the second impression, when I get to talk to you and you see me and you know what I'm about, you think, oh, you know what? He's all right, you know, he's cool. So the only way I'm going to be able to do that is if you guys bring it to people's attention. And if it keeps popping up on people's feed, people will watch. People will be curious to see if I'm actually talking any sense. So there you go. I've just seen this story pop up on my screen. I'm going to have to talk about it because this is hilarious. So it seems as though excuse me, hold on. Watford are interested in buying Islam Sarr. Now I know Ismaila Sarr, I should say, who's obviously the Rennes right midfielder. I know that you guys have previously suggested this to me as a potential alternative. Now, obviously, this comes as a blow for Arsenal because we've been looking at various different wingers if the Zaha thing doesn't pop off. I think Sarr was actually third on the list, behind Zaha, behind Suarez. It doesn't seem like Fraser's on the list, by the way, before someone suggests it. So, yeah, that is interesting. So this is my only problem with bluffing is, yeah, cool, we could bluff to deadline day, but then our options start to get thinner and thinner and thinner. And I'll tell you what, I'm not going to be overly happy if all we end up with is a crooked Gareth Bale. I know a lot of you guys are keen on that idea. I've seen those questions in the chat. In my opinion, I think we could do better than just Gareth Bale. I've got to admit, yes, I think once upon a time Gareth Bale was a good player, but I also think if he was that good, there is no reason for Zidane to be so adamant that he wants to get rid of him. And just watching the way Zidane has been over this guy, I'm like, oh my gosh, is he that bad? So that's why I'm a little bit skeptical about the Gareth Bale move. I think he's 30 years old. He's had a lot of injuries, you know. For all those people talking to me about Gareth Bale, but then when we were talking about Umtiti, everyone was talking about his knee injury. I'm like, what the heck is the difference then? At least Umtiti is younger. When you're older, it takes a long time to heal from these injuries. And so, in my view, I mean, I'd pass on the Gareth Bale thing, in my opinion. But that is just purely on the basis that it's my opinion. I'll talk about this story as well because I did see it pop up earlier, and that is Eddie Nketiah. So apparently, Eddie Nketiah is potentially looking at clubs that he could potentially go to. I know that he's obviously had a really good preseason. He's clearly very determined. And obviously at the start of the year, there was an opportunity for him to go on loan. He has now decided that he wants to stay and fight for his place in the team. Emre has subsequently set him a challenge and has said to him, basically, your goal is to try and break into the first team. Like, don't just be a sub, break into the team, which absolutely should be his target. Do I think he'll be able to do that? Probably not. But I think it should absolutely be his target. Because at the end of the day, if he's banging in goals, then regardless, whether it's Lacazette or Aubameyang, you better sit the hell down. You know, he's definitely been very impressive. Very, very impressive. You know, he's one of the youngsters, along with Joe Willock, that a lot of people have a lot of high hopes for, you know? And I think a lot of people are hoping to see play a big part against Real Madrid tonight, which incidentally, for people that keep tweeting me wondering when that match is on, it's at 12 midnight on the Premier Sports channel, if you have that channel. I don't know a single person that has that channel, but you never know. All right, finally, let's talk about Suarez. So I tweeted this nice and early in the morning because I knew it would be a story that would break later. A fan caught up with Edu in America and basically flat out asked him the one question that I think most of us would have asked in that situation is, so are we signing Everton Suarez? Or Everton was what he said. And Edu, you know, Edu has that beaming smile and he was just like, we'll see. So the guy kept filming and was like, come on, are we going to be signing them? We're going to be signing. And Edu basically said, I'll tell you what, if you're not filming, I'll tell you. So obviously the guy put the phone away, but later on tweeted that Edu didn't say much. He just said that, you know, kind of just smiled and just said, you know, kind of just smiled it off sort of thing. Now, I ain't going to lie to you. The logical part of me says you guys are absolutely right. I'm sure you're screaming in the chat room now. There's nothing in this. BS. It's just he's giving a diplomatic answer to a question that's being thrown right in his face. You're absolutely right. But quite honestly, when Arsenal fan, we need a winger. There's 2 weeks left for the transfer window. And if this is the only hint I need to hope that we get Everton Suarez instead of Wilfried Zaha, then so be it. So, as far as I'm concerned, Everton Suarez to Arsenal confirmed. Oh man. So I don't know. For me, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens, man. I want him so badly on the team. I think it'd be a really good addition. I think his flair, alongside Ceballos' creativity, with Torreira's engine, with youthful wingers in Reece Nelson or Saka or whoever you decide to play there, and maybe bring in a defender, a solid left back. Maybe we have something. That's the hope anyway. But we'll see. All right. Now, I've decided to be very strict with myself. I'm going to go into the chat, and I'm determined to only stay until 9:40. I'm not going to fuck about. Ain't going to be no overtime fund needed, VP. Don't worry. From literally now till 9:40. So that's 20 minutes. So bombard me with questions. Anything you want to ask, please do. Make sure you stick on the video, stick a like on the video, without banging on and on about it. It gets the video noticed. So let's go and see what you lot are saying. It always takes me a while to find myself on YouTube, weirdly. Let me mute myself.
First time.
All right. Big Chigo. That's the first that I've been called that. All right. Yes, please do hit those likes. 127 of you, 53 likes. I know you guys can do better than that. I know you can. My new live total, by the way, is 70. So every time you guys get 70, I stop bitching. Don Chiggy Smalls, 102 watching. Anything you want to ask, guys? We should forget about Zaha and focus on our defense. We conceded 51 goals. Left back Tierney, a right back, 2 centre backs, Tar and Everton. Yep, I agree with you. I think we do need to invest in at least one other centre back. Oh, thank you, Joseph. Thank you. This is your first experience. Oh, in my first experience watching the channel. Oh, well, thank you, Joseph. I appreciate that, brother. Don Chiggy Smalls. You guys. No, we need to buy Sar. You don't overrate Sar, you know. I think he's good. But I honestly, he's third on my list as well. I think I'd rather Zaha than Sar, to be honest. I think he's good. I think there's definitely potential. But I think at the moment, average. No, G, Bale for me. Yeah? Not for me, man. Who's going to pay Bale 600K per week? Not Arsenal. Well, supposedly, Real Madrid will just want him off the books. So they're prepared to pay most of his wages just to get him off. Bale, the English Ozil. And there you go, Boots. There you go. I didn't want to say it because I didn't want to trigger people, but yes, there you go. But he's not English, to be fair. That's the other thing. Bale to China. Nikita definitely needs a loan move. Yeah, I see. For me, I agree with you, but I am impressed with this preseason. I am. Paxson's not excited for the new season. I can understand why. I can. Kroenke out. Amen. Callum Hudson-Odoi agrees a 5-year deal at Chelsea. Good for them. If I had a transfer ban, I'd be trying to tie down my youngsters too. Everton Suarez, is that what we really need though? Why not? As opposed to Zaha, why not? I don't know what I'm going for the UK right now, please. Oh no, Ben, is that a Spurs fan I see in the distance? Careful. Careful. You can't just put a cock on a basketball and just slide into the chat and think no one will notice. Careful. Everton is too good to be true. I'm hoping we can make it. I'm hoping. Or I can't say much else other than I'm hoping. I don't want the club to be panicked by a last minute in the window like we used to with Wenger, Gazidis, and Law. I think you'll know if it's a panic buy. If it's one of these people that we've been linked with the whole time, then I won't class that as a panic buy. But if it's Bale, then yeah, I think that's a panic buy all day. Danny Rose at Arsenal with no Tierney. No, thank you. No, thank you. And I'm not even. I've never rated Danny Rose. I'll be honest. I've never rated him. Even when people were saying he's the best left back in the country, I was like, yeah, not for me, star. Big Chigo, still stuck with Mustafi, Xhaka. Yeah, and that's the crew. Nimsy, that's their crew as well. Ozil, Mustafi, Xhaka, Kolasinac. The shit crew. Gosh, don't get me started, bruv. The good thing about Ceballos coming on board, I think he'll be the starting number 10. So maybe that will give Ozil the message to that. At the very least, next season, you're bouncing. Mike Ashley or Stan Kroenke. Hey, Ashley just made a £40 million signing, to be fair. Yes, Kroenke, of course, because Ashley is a waste of space. Ben, you're welcome. I'm just saying, be careful, brother. Be careful. I don't want Fekir. I wanted Fekir, I must admit. He's gone to, is it Betis now? Who's he actually signed with? No. Ben is one of the more calmer Spurs fans, so no problem. You know what? He's welcome. I think that will get Zaha by. Oh, okay. All right. Bye, FIFA King. Yo, Chig. Let's get Dulk. I think that's supposed to say Dunk. We ain't spending 45 million on him. No chance. Is Cisse still coming? The last I heard on that, Wolves inquired after him, and we're going to make an offer. And that's the last I've heard of it. So I'm hoping that still means that Arsenal are going to go back in for him. But we'll see. Kind of hoping that no news means Arsenal are working on something. Because I'd have him. He's a bit slow. I don't think he's Mertesacker or Pascal Seagon's slow. But I think he's a little bit slow. But he is very good aerially. Very, very good aerially. And does like a pass to the ball. Can pass the ball. He's competent. Really surprised Everton have got all out to sign. Really surprised Everton have not got all out to sign Everton, to be honest. Nimsy, you'd be surprised. Everton are interested as well, actually, in Everton. Let's be real here. That would be a PR dream for their PR person. Everton signs Everton. He has gone to Betis for 18 million. Oh, gosh, peanuts. Peanuts. You know what I'm saying? These clubs bump up the price when they know an English club is involved. If they know an English club is involved, they don't give a damn. Oh, Betis. Just charge them a little 18-piece, bro. Don't even go too tough. You are much more noticeable now, Evan. There you go. See? There you go. Easy. All right, guys, just a quick warning. 13 more minutes and I'm out. You did it, mate. Now see if he notices. I did notice, Danny. I did. FIFA King, he signed for 18. Yeah. 18 million is peanuts, bro. Joseph, Spurs have spent £110 million on 2 players. Yep. But they also didn't sign a player for 2 years, so they got money. They got money just waiting there. Yes, Danny. So what's your opinion? Is he noticeable? What's your opinion? Is noticeable? I meant by. Is it confirmed that Arsenal? Yeah, I'm just good on football chat. See enough of your mob on Twitter. Don't need it all the time. Fair enough. Fair enough. But you lot are Larry, though. I will say that. You lot are Larry as fuck. But when there's a cool Spurs fan, no problem. It ain't our fault that it ain't your fault you support the shit team. Well, it kind of is, but careful. You're in an Arsenal room now. You're gonna get bantered off. Mr. Antonios, my favorite Aussie. Ceballos is the Dennis. See what I'm saying? There's always some tinge of negativity. Is that a bad thing or a good thing, Sir Antonius? A Denis Suarez replacement. What a joker. It'd have to be good in the air being 6'6". Well, you would say that, but Per Mertesacker wasn't great in the air. Let's face it. And he was 6'4", 6'5". Anyone happy that Boris is the new PM? Say 10 million, I would take it. Yeah, me too. Although what was a little bit of a worry today, Rich, when I was reading on the Wolves' interest, they were preparing to offer 18 million. So I don't know if that was just purely a case of trying to beat Arsenal to the punch. I don't know. But they were preparing an 18 million offer. They've not yet done that, so I don't know if that's still their intention. Back four, Monreal, Socrates, Cisse, Niles. Well, I'm hoping the back four is Tierney, Socrates, Cisse, Niles. Salabos with no option to buy. Yeah, but it's not the end of the world, Lundbergkamp, if that's the case. For the simple reason that what's his name? Who's the person that Chelsea signed from Real Madrid very recently? Forgotten his name. Anyway, they didn't have an option to buy him. They just had a conversation and they bought him. So I've had the impression that Arsenal and Real Madrid have a similar agreement where it's not necessarily an option to buy, but what they've promised Arsenal is that they would have a discussion at the end of the season in case Real Madrid decide to sell. And obviously, if they do, we're looking in the region of about 50 to 60 million pounds for him. Did I hear about Maximum Dadashev? Yes, I did. So sad, VP. So sad. I heard he died from his injuries. So sad. RIP. Happy his boy scored from the halfway line. Yeah, it probably is. Probably is. Cute smile Guna, my Nigerian brother with the weird name. How you doing? All right, guys, just to warn you, 8 minutes and I'm out. You see, I'm keeping a tight leash on this time before I bounce. Just to let you know, there's literally half the likes that there is people here. Come on now. If you haven't dropped a like, please drop this video a like. Get me to 70 and I stop bitching. This is the agreement we always have, right? You want to know what my stop bitching mark is? It's 70. 70 while we're live. That means if you're watching us at the playback, still drive the likes through. There you go. I reached 70 now. Now I'll stop bitching. Now I'll stop bitching. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Kovacic, there you go. They didn't have an option to buy. They just had a conversation with Real Madrid. They hashed it out. Real Madrid decided they didn't want him. And then subsequently, Chelsea bought him. So supposedly we have one of those agreements. It doesn't help that the player at the moment sees his future at Real Madrid. So it's up to us to have some success, embrace him as much as possible. And who knows, we may have half a chance of keeping this kid. It's going to be difficult, though. I ain't going to lie to you. How much do you think Emre, how much say do you think Emre has being, he's only the head coach, Chib? More than people think. And you know what tells you that? What Sven said as the reason why he left. Because from my understanding, basically Emre shut down Sven and said, no, we're getting Denis Suarez. And Sven was like, why would we get Denis Suarez? Sven was in favor of holding on to the money that we would spend on a loan fee and promote some of the youngsters like a Saka or a Willett, people like that. And because he knew how well they were doing in the under-23s. And Emre was like, no, we're going to get Suarez. So we've obviously seen the way that turns out. Now, I'm going to lie to you, that story has dented my faith in Emre a little bit. Because that's an Emre call. And that was a bad one. So everyone's allowed to make mistakes, though. I've always said I'll give him at least 2 seasons. So this is Judgment Day season. I'm just catching vibes. What time are you playing? Midnight. It's a school night for me, so I can't watch it. But yeah, midnight. 10:15. Will Chig still be streaming? I won't be, Rabadan, but thank you for the donation. 5 minutes and I'm out, guys. 5 minutes. This is usually where you lot decide, you know what, just to keep Chig on, I'm going to bombard him with questions now. Like I ain't been asking you guys to do that for 20 minutes. Chig is on the clock. Chig is definitely on the clock. What time do you start? To be honest, I normally start these shows around like 8:45. So yeah. Yeah. I'll probably start a bit earlier once Lee's back in the country, so me and him aren't clashing. Keep up the great work, Chig. Thank you, Arches. Thank you, brother. I hope you subscribed, because you're a new name. I ain't seen you before. So I hope you've subscribed. Why not Ziyech? Amazing player. Tarek, don't even get me started, brother. I've been bitching and moaning and whining about this kid for ages. But to be honest, it's weird that no one seems to be interested in him. It's so weird. So weird. Will you liken Salabos to Isco, apart from Santi? So I've likened him to Santi. I see some people have likened him to Cesc. I can see why, but I think he's a little bit sharper than Cesc was, to be honest. I just think he's a fantastic technical player. So yeah, maybe Isco, because Lord knows I love me some Isco. So yeah, I suppose so. Yeah. 3 minutes, guys. Start a bit earlier, Chig. I will do, Danny, in the future. I will do. Chig has the clock game. Today I do, yeah, today. Just today. I've got some shit to do. In relation to the channel as well, I've got some shit to do. Chig, me and you have got a very similar views of the Arsenal. Good, Danny. I mean, not that it's a prerequisite. Lord knows I argue half of the people on there, whether it's Alex Akar or even Antonius Black. You know, me and him go back and forth, which is good. Debate is always good. But if you agree with me, fantastic. Fantastic. Keep up the good work, bro. Thank you, Gary. Appreciate it, brother. I appreciate it. All right. Any final questions? 2 minutes now. Any final questions? Lee must have a wicked tan by now. Did you see the vid where he showed his scars where he fell down? No, I didn't, Marbles, but I'll WhatsApp him later and ask him what that's about. All right, let me start to wind this down as we enter into a minute left. Guna Eagle Eye Ting. Gee, thank you. Damn, always make it. Dom, I've just had this lecture from people. Make the show earlier, so I will. Tomorrow I'll be on slightly earlier. I'll be on from 8 o'clock. I'll make this vow now. 8 o'clock UK time, I'll be on. So that's a bit earlier for everyone. But yeah, thank you so much for everyone watching. Please do give this video a like. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Still about 38% of you that watch these shows that haven't yet subscribed. Yes, I keep an eye on that too. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully we'll get some news. We'll get some deals confirmed with Ceballos and Saliba. So keep an eye out on my channel for that. Other than that, that's pretty much it, people. I'm out of here. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday evening. See you tomorrow. It's going to be hot in the UK, boy. Flipping heck. All right. Take care. Peace.